I was 4,000 miles away when my phone buzzed at 2 inches the morning. It was a text from my neighbor, Carol. She said, "Gerald, I do not want to get in the middle of anything, but there is a moving truck in your driveway, and it is not you driving it." I read that message 3 times. I had been in Portland for 6 days on a consulting job. My daughter, Simone, was supposed to be house sitting, watering the plants, collecting the mail. Instead, she had moved a man I had never met into the home I had spent 31 years paying for. And when I called her, she let it ring. When I texted her, she read it and did not respond. When I flew home 2 days later and put my key in the front door, the lock had been changed. I stood on my own porch, suitcase at my feet, looking at a door that used to be mine. She had no idea that I had kept every single document this house had ever produced, and I knew exactly what to do with them. Welcome back to Dad's silent revenge story. Grab a coffee, get comfortable, and stay with me on this one. Because this story does not end the way you might expect, and the lesson, at the end, is one I hope none of you ever has to learn the hard way. Leave a number 1 inch the comments, so I know you are here. And hit subscribe. This community means everything to me. My name is Gerald, 64 years old, retired civil engineer out of Memphis, Tennessee. I spent 37 years designing bridges. Literally. I calculated how much weight a structure could hold before it would break. I did that for a living. And I am telling you that right now, because it matters to this story. My wife, Patricia, passed away 11 years ago. Breast cancer. She was 54 years old and she fought it for 3 years, without ever once complaining. After she passed, it was just me and Simone. She was 22 at the time. I poured everything I had left into that girl. Every ounce of energy. Every dollar I did not need for groceries. Every weekend. I thought I was building something. A foundation. I did not realize I was also teaching her that no matter what she did, I would always be there to catch her. That was my mistake, not hers. The house on Cloverdale Road had been in my family since 1991. I bought it with Patricia the year Simone was born. 3 bedrooms. A front porch with a swing. A backyard with a fig tree that Patricia planted the spring before she got sick. That fig tree still produces fruit every August. I still pick every single one. After Patricia died, Simone moved back in. She said she needed time to get back on her feet. I said, of course. Take all the time you need. That was 4 years ago. She had not paid a single dollar in rent. She had not paid a utility bill. She had not bought a bag of groceries for the house. In 4 years, I covered everything. Silently. Because she was my daughter. Because Patricia would have wanted me to. But there was something Simone did not know. The house on Cloverdale Road was never put in her name. Not even partially. The deed was mine. The mortgage had been paid off in 2018. The property taxes were paid out of my personal account. Every January without fail. Simone had a key. She did not have a claim. She had confused my generosity with ownership. The Portland consulting job came up in early October. 6 days. Maybe 7. A firm needed me to review structural assessments on a bridge renovation project. Good work. Meaningful work. I asked Simone if she could hold things down at the house. She said yes without looking up from her phone. I left on a Monday morning. By Thursday night, Carol from next door was texting me about a moving truck. I called Simone. No answer. I texted. Read? No reply. I called again Friday morning. Nothing. I sent one final message. Simone, I need to know what is happening at the house. Please call me back. She did not. So I finished the job in Portland, booked an early flight home, and landed in Memphis on Saturday afternoon. I took a cab straight to Cloverdale Road. My key did not work. I rang the bell. I could hear movement inside. Music playing. Voices. The door opened. It was not Simone. It was a man I had never seen before in my life. Mid-30s. Wearing a tank top. Holding a beer at 3 in the afternoon. He looked at me and said, "Can I help you?" I stood very still. I said, "I own this house." He turned and called for Simone. She appeared behind him. She looked at me without apology. She said, "Dad, I was going to tell you. This is Marcus. He needed a place to stay. We are together now." I looked past her into my living room. There was furniture I did not own. Boxes stacked against the wall. A television mounted where Patricia's bookshelf used to be. I looked at my daughter. I said, "Why did you change the lock?" She said, "We needed privacy." I nodded slowly. I said, "I will be back on Monday. Have a good evening." I turned around, walked back to the cab, and asked the driver to take me to a hotel. I did not raise my voice. I did not argue. I did not make a single threat. But I was already building something in my head, the same way I always build, load by load, beam by beam, until the structure is ready. I have spent my career calculating how much stress a structure can absorb before it fails. Relationships work the same way. You can add weight slowly, and a good structure holds. But when you add too much all at once, and you do it to something that was never built to carry that kind of load, the whole thing comes down fast. Simone had added too much weight all at once. That Saturday night in the hotel, I opened my laptop. I pulled up the county property records. My name, clear title, no liens, no co-owners. Then I called my attorney, a woman named Diane, who had handled my estate planning for 12 years. I told her what happened. All of it. I did not dramatize. I just gave her the facts. She listened. Then she said, "Gerald, you can have them out in 30 days. Maybe less. The law is completely on your side." I said, "I know. Let's do it right." She filed the formal notice of eviction the following Monday morning. Tennessee law requires 30 days' notice for a family member with no lease agreement. We followed every step exactly. Simone was served the paperwork on Tuesday afternoon. My phone rang 12 times that Tuesday evening. The first 3 calls were Simone. I let them go. The 4th call was from a number I did not recognize. I answered. It was Marcus. He told me I was being unreasonable. He told me Simone was my daughter and I owed her more than this. He told me he had rights because he had been living there and paying for things. I asked him what things he had paid for. He went quiet. I told him I wished him well, and ended the call. Simone showed up at the hotel that evening. The front desk called my room and I agreed to come down to the lobby. She was not angry when I saw her. She was scared, and that was harder to look at than anger would have been. She said, "Dad, where am I supposed to go?" I sat across from her in the lobby chairs. I looked at my daughter, my Patricia's daughter, the girl I raised. I said, "Simone, I love you. I have always loved you. And I am going to tell you something your mother would have told you years ago, if she had still been here. You are 33 years old. You have a college degree. You have a job. You have a mind that works. The only thing standing between you and a real life is the fact that you have never had to build one. Because I was always there to hand you the finished version." She started to cry. I did not move to comfort her. "Not this time." I said, "That is my fault as much as yours. I gave you everything, and I never made sure you understood the value of any of it. That ends now. Not because I am angry, but because I love you too much to keep making that same mistake." She left the hotel without another word. Marcus was gone within a week. No surprise there. Simone stayed for the full 30 days. I learned later that she used the time to find an apartment. A small one, 2 blocks from her office. She moved out on a Saturday. Carol from next door told me the moving truck was small. Just her things. Knew Marcus. No extra boxes. I had the locks changed that afternoon. The original locksmith. I kept 2 keys this time. Then I walked through every room of my house. The living room was different. Holes in the wall where Marcus had mounted things. Scuff marks on the floors. Patricia's bookshelf was in the garage, disassembled in pieces. I spent that weekend putting it back together. I found a note inside one of the shelves when I was reassembling it. Patricia had written it. A grocery list from 2012. Fig jam, bread, good coffee. I sat on the floor of my living room for a long time. Then I got up and finished putting the shelf back where it belonged. 3 months passed. Simone called me on a Sunday morning. She asked if she could come by. She said she was not looking for anything. She just wanted to talk. I said yes. She showed up with coffee. 2 cups. She remembered how I take mine. We sat on the front porch. The swing still worked. The fig tree in the backyard was bare for winter. She did not apologize right away. We talked about small things first. Her new apartment, work, the weather. Then she set her cup down and said, "Dad, I have been thinking about what you said in the hotel lobby, about how you never made me understand the value of things. I think you were being too hard on yourself. You gave me everything you could. I just chose not to grow up. That was on me." I looked at my daughter. She kept going. She said, "I am sorry about the lock. I am sorry about Marcus. I am sorry I made you stand on your own porch with a suitcase like a stranger. You never deserved that. Not 1 second of it." I reached over and put my hand over hers. I said, "I know." We sat there until the coffee was cold. I am not a man who holds grudges. I calculated the damage. I made the structural repairs. And then I decided what the foundation was still worth saving. 6 months after Simone moved out, I updated my will. The house on Cloverdale Road is still hers when I am gone. That did not change. What changed is the condition. She will inherit it only if she has lived independently for at least 3 years prior, paid her own rent, filed her own taxes, carried her own health insurance. Not because I want to punish her, but because I want the house to mean something to her when she gets it, the way it meant something to me when Patricia and I bought it the year Simone was born. Patricia's fig tree is still in the backyard. It produced 93 figs last August. I counted. Simone came over and helped me pick them. We made jam. We listened to the same music Patricia used to play on Saturday mornings. It was a good day. I want to talk to you directly for a moment. Not about revenge. Not about property rights or eviction notices, or who had the law on their side. I want to talk about something harder than all of that. When we love our children, we want to protect them from every hard thing. We want to carry the weight so they never have to feel it. And that instinct is not wrong. It comes from the best part of who we are. But there is a difference between protecting someone from a storm and building them a shelter so permanent that they never learn to build their own. I built Simone a shelter, and I built it so well that she forgot it was mine. That was not her failure. That was mine. The hardest thing a parent can do is look at the child they love more than anything in this world and say, "I am not going to catch you this time." Not because I do not care, but because the only way you learn to stand is to feel what it is like when your legs have to hold you. Letting go is not abandonment. Letting go is the last and most difficult act of love. If you have someone in your life right now who has mistaken your generosity for an entitlement, hear me when I say this. You do not have to be cruel. You do not have to be cold. You do not have to burn anything down. You just have to stop. Step back and let reality do what you have been preventing it from doing for years. The people worth keeping will come back to you on the other side of that. The ones who only come back when they need something will show you exactly who they are. Either way, you will have your answer. Thank you for sitting with me on this one. If it meant something to you, leave a comment and tell me. I read every single one. Hit the like button if this story stayed with you, and subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.